Have you ever heard of a musician so influential they shaped an entire region's musical landscape without ever seeking the spotlight?
Oh.
That's the story we're diving into today, the legacy of Pandit Balakrishnabuwa Ichalkaranjikar.
Sounds interesting.
We're going to unpack how this musical pioneer brought the intricate Gwalior Gharana style of Hindustani classical music to Maharashtra, and in doing so set the stage for music education as we know it in India. To guide us through this, we're using excerpts from a research paper about his life and work.
It's fascinating how someone so dedicated to their art could have such a ripple effect, almost accidentally shaping generations of musicians. Balakrishnabuwa's impact goes way beyond performing. He was a teacher, a mentor, and a catalyst for change.
Okay, let's unpack this. So Balakrishnabuwa starts in Ichalkaranji, Maharashtra. Already showing a love for music, he takes a huge leap, traveling all the way to Gwalior, the heartland of Kayal, to train under Ustad Vasudharao Joshi. That kind of dedication already tells you this isn't your average musician.
And you're right, that journey to Gwalior is key. Kayal itself is a complex art form. It's about taking a raga and weaving a whole tapestry of emotions and musical ideas. Think of it like a master sculptor who starts with a single block of marble and reveals a masterpiece within. Knowing your appreciation for detail, I think you'll find the nuances of Kayal particularly fascinating.
It's like the raga is the raw material, and the musician uses their skill and artistry to mold it into something beautiful and expressive. And Balakrishnabuwa went straight to the source, learning from the masters of the Gwalior Gharana, which, as I understand it, had a very distinct style.
Exactly. Each Gharana or school of thought within Hindustani music has its own distinct character. Think of it like different schools of painting. They all use the same basic elements, but their techniques and aesthetics differ. The Gwalior Gharana was known for its straightforward presentation of ragas, a focus on rhythmic play, using elements like boltan and sargam, and a very structured way of presenting a Kayal, starting slowly and building to a faster tempo.
So it's not just about hitting the right notes, it's about the whole package. The clarity, the control, the way the music unfolds over time. I'm already getting a sense of the Gwalior sound in my head, and this is what Balakrishnabuwa brought back to Maharashtra, right?
Absolutely. And this wasn't just about teaching people to sing, it was about introducing a whole new approach to music. Before Balakrishnabuwa, Kayal wasn't widely practiced in Maharashtra. He brought this structured, disciplined approach from Gwalior and essentially changed the musical landscape.
It's like he planted the seeds for a whole new musical ecosystem to grow. But did his influence only come through his own teaching, or were there other factors that helped the Gwalior Gharana take root in Maharashtra?
It's a combination of things. His dedication to teaching was certainly key, but his students also played a crucial role. He trained some of the biggest names in Indian classical music folks, like Vishnu Digambar Pulaskar, Anasaheb Kirloskar, and Bhaskarbua Bakale. These individuals went on to become leading figures in their own right, further spreading the Gwalior style and solidifying Balakrishnabuwa's legacy.
So it's like he created this ripple effect, not just through his own teaching, but through the achievements of his students as well. It's like his musical DNA became interwoven into the fabric of Hindustani music.
That's a perfect way to put it. And what's remarkable is that he achieved all of this without seeking fame or recognition. His focus was purely on the music and passing on that knowledge to his students.
It really makes you think about the impact a single person can have. We often focus on the big names, the stars, but it's these dedicated individuals working behind the scenes who lay the foundation for entire movements.
It's like the roots of a tree. You might only see the leaves and branches, but it's the unseen network below that nourishes and sustains the whole structure. Balakrishnabuwa was those roots for so many musical branches.
And speaking of those branches, let's dig a little deeper into one of his most famous students, Vishnu Digambar Pulaskar. You mentioned he founded the Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, but for those of us unfamiliar, what impact did that have on the world of Hindustani music?
Oh, it's huge. Imagine trying to learn complex music theory without textbooks or sheet music. That was the reality for most aspiring musicians before Pulaskar.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
He saw a need to formalize music education and created one of India's first institutions dedicated to teaching Hindustani classical music. And guess what? He directly credited Balakrishnabuwa as his inspiration for this, for showing him the importance of structure and discipline in learning music.
So it's not just that Pulaskar created this amazing institution, it's that Balakrishnabuwa's influence is woven into its very DNA.
Precisely, and that's just one example. Balakrishnabuwa's students went on to found other schools, write textbooks, and develop new teaching methods. His emphasis on rigorous practice, what they call riyaz, became a cornerstone of Hindustani music pedagogy.
So Balakrishnabuwa essentially laid the groundwork for a whole new way of teaching and learning music. But I'm curious, was there pushback against this more formalized approach? Did some people feel it was taking away from the traditional guru-shishya dynamic?
That's a great question. There were certainly traditionalists who preferred the old way of doing things. But what's interesting is that Balakrishnabuwa himself was deeply rooted in the guru-shishya tradition. He saw his efforts to formalize music education not as a replacement for this tradition, but as a way to complement and strengthen it.
So he wasn't trying to throw out the old ways, but to adapt them to a changing world.
Right.
And this makes me think about another aspect of his legacy we touched on earlier, his role in bridging the gap between temple music and court music. Could you expand on that a bit?
Sure. Before Balakrishnabuwa, Hindustani music was often categorized as either temple music, which was more devotional in nature, or court music, which was more elaborate and often associated with patronage. Balakrishnabuwa's style transcended these categories. He brought a depth and sophistication to temple music and made court music more accessible to a wider audience.
So it's like he created a common ground where different styles could meet and mingle, and I'm guessing this had a significant impact on the evolution of Hindustani music as a whole.
Absolutely. It helped break down barriers and opened up new avenues for creativity, and this inclusiveness is another hallmark of his legacy. He believed that music should be accessible to everyone, regardless of their background or social standing.
And this ties into the point you made earlier about his humility. He wasn't trying to elevate himself or his style above others. He was trying to bring people together through music.
Yeah.
It's quite inspiring, really.
It is, and it's something we can all learn from, regardless of our field. The idea that true leadership isn't about ego or self-promotion, but about empowering others and creating a space where everyone can thrive.
Well said. But before we get too carried away with the philosophical implications, let's bring it back to the music itself. You mentioned earlier that the Gwalior Gharana was known for its rhythmic complexity, particularly its use of layakari. For those of us who aren't familiar with this term, could you explain what makes layakari so special?
Of course. Imagine a drummer adding subtle accents and variations to a beat, creating a sense of surprise and excitement. That's what a skilled vocalist does with layakari. It's about weaving intricate rhythmic patterns within the melodic structure, creating a captivating interplay between rhythm and melody.
So it's like the music is dancing within itself, constantly shifting and evolving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the Gwalior Gharana, with its emphasis on clarity and precision, was a master of this art. Balakrishnabuwa, having trained in this tradition, instilled this deep understanding of rhythm in his students.
Now I have to ask, knowing your deep understanding of music theory and history, do you think this rhythmic sophistication found in the Gwalior Gayaki influenced other musical forms in Maharashtra?
That's a fantastic question, and one that music scholars continue to explore. It's hard to draw direct lines of influence, but consider this. Marathi Natya Sangeet, the musical theater tradition of Maharashtra, was also going through a period of growth and development around the same time.
So you're saying there's a possibility that Balakrishnabuwa's emphasis on rhythmic complexity, on this idea of layakari, might have seeped into other musical genres. That's fascinating.
It's definitely an intriguing possibility. It speaks to the interconnectedness of art forms, how ideas and innovations can cross-pollinate and influence seemingly disparate genres.
It's like this invisible web of inspiration connecting different musical expressions. But let's zoom in on another aspect of Balakrishnabuwa's legacy that might not be immediately apparent, his connection to the development of music notation in India.
Ah, yes. This is a crucial part of his story that often gets overlooked. Before Balakrishnabuwa's time, Hindustani music was primarily transmitted orally. Imagine trying to learn complex ragas and compositions solely by listening and memorizing.
That sounds incredibly challenging.
It was. But Balakrishnabuwa's emphasis on structure and his methodical approach to teaching created a need for a more standardized way of documenting and sharing musical knowledge.
So his teaching methods, almost by necessity, pushed for a more formalized way of writing down music.
Precisely. His students like Vishnu Digambar Paliskar were instrumental in developing and popularizing music notation systems that are still widely used today.
It's like he inadvertently sparked a revolution in musical literacy. And this brings us to an interesting question. We've talked about how Balakrishnabuwa shaped the Gwalior Gharana's presence in Maharashtra, influenced music education, and even contributed to the development of music notation. But what about his impact on Hindustani music as a whole?
That's a big question, and one the scholars are still debating. Some argue that his impact is primarily regional, limited to Maharashtra, Others believe that his legacy extends far beyond any particular region, that his emphasis on rigor, clarity, and structure helped shape the very fabric of Hindustani music.
So there's no easy answer, but it's clear that he played a significant role in the development of Hindustani music, even if the extent of that role is still being debated.
Exactly. And it's important to acknowledge that even if his influence was primarily regional, that's still an incredible achievement. To shape the musical landscape of an entire region is no small feat.
Absolutely. But I have a feeling we'll be unpacking his legacy for years to come.
I agree. His story is a reminder that sometimes the most profound impacts are made not by those seeking the spotlight, but by those quietly dedicating themselves to their craft and their students.
Well said. Now, I know we're running out of time, but there's one more aspect of Balakrishnabuwa's life I'd love to touch on: his final years. What can you tell us about this period?
This is where we see the true measure of the man. Despite his massive influence, he never sought fame or wealth. He remained dedicated to teaching, passing on his knowledge to his students, and emphasizing the importance of humility and devotion to the art.
So even at the height of his influence, he remained grounded, focused on the music itself rather than any personal gain.
Exactly. And this humility is perhaps the most enduring aspect of his legacy. It's a reminder that true artistry comes not from ego or ambition, but from a deep love for one's craft and a willingness to share that love with others.
It's a beautiful sentiment, and one that resonates deeply with me. But alas, we are out of time for today. But don't worry, we'll be back next week to continue our exploration of Pandit Balakrishnabuwa Ichalkaranjikar's life and legacy.
Until then, keep listening, keep learning, and keep exploring the rich tapestry of Hindustani music.
Welcome back. Ready to finish our deep dive into the world of Pandit Balakrishnabuwa Ichalkaranjikar?
I am.
We've covered so much ground already: his early training, his dedication to the Gwalior Gharana, the ripple effect of his teaching, and his lasting impact on music education.
It's amazing how one person's passion can echo through generations, isn't it?
Yeah.
Balakrishnabuwa's story really underscores that point.
It does. And you know what strikes me? Throughout this deep dive, there's been this recurring theme of Balakrishnabuwa's humility. He wasn't chasing fame or fortune. He was driven by a pure love for his art and a desire to share it with others.
That's a really astute observation, and it's something that I think is worth reflecting on. In a world that often prioritizes self-promotion and individual achievement, Balakrishnabuwa's story reminds us of the power of quiet dedication and selfless service.
It makes you think about your own motivations, doesn't it? What drives us in our own pursuits? Are we chasing external validation, or are we truly passionate about the work itself?
Those are profound questions, and I think Balakrishnabuwa's life offers us a compelling answer. His legacy wasn't built on accolades or awards, but on the deep connections he forged with his students and the enduring impact he had on their lives and careers.
It's like he understood that true fulfillment comes not from what you achieve for yourself, but from what you give back to the world.
Exactly. And that's a lesson that extends far beyond the realm of music. It's applicable to any field, any endeavor where passion and purpose intersect.
I couldn't agree more. But before we wrap things up, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier: the ongoing debate about the extent of Balakrishnabuwa's influence. Some scholars argue that his impact was primarily regional, while others believe it extends to the very fabric of Hindustani music. Knowing your expertise, where do you stand on this debate?
It's a complex question, and I don't think there's a simple answer. There's no doubt that his impact on the musical landscape of Maharashtra was profound. He introduced the Gwalior Gharana, nurtured generations of musicians, and helped establish a more structured approach to music education in the region.
So his regional impact is undeniable. But what about his influence on Hindustani music as a whole?
That's where things get more nuanced. While his direct influence might have been concentrated in Maharashtra, his indirect influence is much harder to measure. His students went on to have national and even international careers, spreading his teachings and carrying his legacy with them. And his emphasis on rigor, clarity, and discipline resonated with musicians far beyond his immediate circle.
So it's like his influence rippled outwards, even if those ripples weren't always directly attributable to him.
Exactly, and I think that's often the case with true pioneers. They plant seeds that grow in unexpected ways, influencing landscapes far beyond their immediate reach.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And it makes me think about the unsung heroes in our own lives. The teachers, mentors, and role models who have shaped our paths in ways we may not even fully realize.
Absolutely. Their influence may not always be obvious or measurable, but it's no less profound.
Well said. And with that thought-provoking observation, I think it's time for us to bring this deep dive to a close. We've journeyed through the life and legacy of Pandit Balakrishnabuwa Ichalkaranjikar, exploring his musical journey, his dedication to teaching, and his enduring impact on Hindustani music.
It's been a fascinating exploration, and I hope it inspires listeners to think about the unsung heroes in their own lives and the subtle ways they've shaped their journeys.
And who knows, maybe you'll even be inspired to dig a little deeper into the rich and vibrant world of Hindustani music. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.